So this video is a little different from my previous ones, but I think it's important to show what it's like doing a weekend away sober, as I know a lot of people struggle with the thought of going away and the weekend not revolving around alcohol, as for so many of us it always has been, so people may feel pressure from that. I didn't film myself talking whilst I was away, and that was intentional. I wanted to experience it without constantly stepping outside of the moment to explain it. For a long time, alcohol did that for me. It pulled me out where I was and into something else. Looking back now, I was never fully present in the moment when I was drinking. My mind was always elsewhere. Weekends away used to mean escape, a break from routine, from responsibility, from thinking too much. And alcohol was always part of that. It was just there and it was expected. I think a lot of people don't realise how quietly alcohol becomes part of these moments. Not in an obvious way, just always there in the background. It marks time, it signals relaxation, it tells you when you're allowed to switch off. So when alcohol isn't there, there can be this subtle sense that something's missing even when everything is objectively fine. That's really what this video is about. Not the place, not the weekend itself, but that feeling. The feeling people worry about when they think about giving up alcohol. The fear that without it, experience like this will feel empty, flat, or less meaningful. I used to carry that fear myself. I genuinely believe that alcohol was what gave certain moments their depth or significance. That without it, life wouldn't be the same. And it isn't, but not in the way I was expecting. What I've learned over time, and what this weekend reminded me of, is that it's not alcohol you miss. It's the way alcohol used to change how moments felt. And when you remove that, there's a period of adjustment that feels unfamiliar. This video is really just a reflection on that adjustment, on what happens when you stop trying to escape moments and start meeting them as they are. What you'll see are small clips from the weekend away at the Wilderness Reserve in Suffolk. And what I want to talk about is what those moments revealed to me about being alcohol free. If you're someone who's sober curious early on, or just questioning whether life without alcohol can still feel full, I hope this gives you a more honest picture. Not a polished one, just a real one. One of the first things I noticed was how my mind kept looking for something familiar. Not consciously, just automatically. Alcohol used to act like a signal, a way of saying, okay, now we're here. Without it, there's a brief moment of uncertainty. And that moment is uncomfortable for a lot of people. Not because anything's wrong, but because we're not used to arriving fully present. Over the course of the weekend, I realised how often I used to fill my time with alcohol. Not because I was unhappy, but because drinking alcohol to pass the time just felt familiar. Alcohol would be the easy thing to turn to when nothing was really happening. But when you remove alcohol, you notice how quickly the urge to distract yourself appears, to scroll, to talk, to add something. Sitting with that urge and not acting on it was one of the most revealing parts of the weekend. What felt like boredom at first turned out to be something else entirely. I now look forward to these quiet moments, starting conversations with friends and family, rather than letting alcohol take control of the moment. Time feels different without alcohol. Meals last longer, conversations don't blur together. You don't rush through moments to get to the next one. This was something I did. I wouldn't be able to sit in a situation without thinking of the next thing to do or place to go. I used to think alcohol made things more enjoyable. But what it really did was make time pass faster. Slowing down felt strange at first, but now it feels grounding, and that's something I didn't really expect. I think a lot of us confuse rest with escape. Alcohol used to be my way of switching off, but switching off isn't the same as resting. Being sober, I noticed how much more my body relaxed when I didn't force it to. There was no crash, just pure relaxation. Alcohol, like for many of you I'm sure, was my shortcut to stimulation for a long time. But real engagement, the kind that actually satisfies, does require focus. When you're fully present, you don't need artificial enhancements like alcohol. That's something that sobriety keeps teaching me. Back when I was drinking, doing activities like we did at the weekend, I would just be constantly thinking about getting back to the house or to the local pub for the next drink. I'm now able to fully live in the moment, and that's something I never want to give up. One of the biggest myths about sobriety is that it dulls connection. People always say to me, "Don't you struggle to talk with people now you're sober?" What I've actually found is quite the opposite. Without alcohol, conversations stay with you. You remember what you said, you remember how it felt. You build much deeper and meaningful connections with people. That's what it's all about. Socially, for me, everything is better without alcohol. It's very different, of course, much quieter, but being able to spend quality time with your friends and family, being fully present in the moment, is something I absolutely love about being alcohol-free. I definitely haven't found sobriety to be at all dramatic. It's a series of quiet choices that build something stable over time. And I get that kind of doesn't look exciting from the outside. But the important thing is it really holds up in reality. I didn't miss alcohol this weekend at all. And I want to be clear about what I mean by that, because it's easy to misinterpret. I didn't miss it not because I was trying to avoid it, or because I was being disciplined, or because I was telling myself I shouldn't have it. I didn't miss it because, quite frankly, there was nothing there that needed numbing, escaping, or enhancing. And that was a big realization for me. For a long time, alcohol felt like the thing that completed experiences, the thing that turned normal moments into something enjoyable. Weekends away, evenings, meals, social time, all of it felt like it needed alcohol to feel right. What this weekend showed me, again, is that alcohol wasn't adding to those moments. It was pulling me out of them. Without alcohol, everything felt slower. And I think that's the part people struggle with most. Because when life feels slow, there's nowhere to hide. You notice your thoughts more, you notice your emotions more. You really do notice the quiet. And that quiet can feel uncomfortable at first. I think a lot of people assume that if sobriety feels uncomfortable, it means something's gone wrong, that they've made the wrong decision, that life without alcohol is going to feel flat or empty forever. But discomfort doesn't automatically mean something is missing. Sometimes it just means you're adjusting to a different pace of life. Since being sober, I've realised that a lot of what I used to call fun was actually just loudness, distraction, sort of constant stimulation. And when you remove that, life can feel quieter. But quieter doesn't mean worse. It just means it's more honest. And honesty can be confronting before it feels freeing. This weekend didn't feel dramatic or exciting in the way alcohol-fueled weekends sometimes did. But it felt grounded. It felt present. It felt like I was actually there for my own life, instead of rushing through it or softening it around the edges. I think that's the quiet shift that happens with sobriety. Not overnight, not in some big before and after moment, but slowly you start realising that you don't need to escape your life for it to be enjoyable. And that's not something alcohol ever really gave me, even though I thought it did. If you're watching this and you're early on, or you're thinking about giving up alcohol, and you're worried that life will feel smaller without it, I get that fear. I had it too. But what I found is that life doesn't get smaller. It just gets quieter. And in that quiet, you get the chance to actually hear yourself again. That doesn't mean everything becomes easy. It doesn't mean every moment feels peaceful or fulfilling. But it does mean you're meeting life as it is, not constantly trying to change how it feels. And over time, that builds something steadier than motivation or willpower. It builds trust. That's trust in yourself, trust in your decisions, trust that you don't need to be someone else to feel okay where you are. And that for me is what life without alcohol is really all about. Not perfection, not discipline, just presence. So thank you very much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this kind of video. If you did, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next one.